When Lindsey Vonn settled into the starting gate at Crans, Montana this week, she was not just a 41-year-old skier. She was a biological miracle. On paper, this should not be happening. On January 31st, 2026, Lindsey Vonn is not supposed to be wearing the leader's red bib. She is not supposed to be hitting 90 miles per hour on a sheet of vertical ice in Switzerland. She is supposed to be a legend in the history books, a retired icon with 82 wins and a body that had finally surrendered to the law of averages. But as the clock ticked down to her start in the final downhill before the Milano Cortina Olympics, the world was not looking at her past. They were looking at her knee, the titanium implant that replaced what used to be a shattered joint. Then it happened. A bad landing, a violent compression, a chaotic spin into the safety nets that left the world's most decorated speed skier tangled in the mesh, clutching her left leg while a helicopter circled overhead. For 5 minutes, the sport held its breath. Is the dream over? Is the 2026 comeback just a bridge too far? Lindsey Vonn got back. She skated to the finish line, grimacing in pain, and immediately withdrew from the following day's Super G. But as she limped toward the medical tent, she left us with 3 words that define her entire career: doing my best. For anyone else, doing my best is an excuse. For Lindsey Vonn, it is a threat. Because even with a metal knee and a fresh crash, she is still happening to the Olympics. And she isn't planning on slowing down. To understand why this crash matters, you have to understand the hardware. In 2019, Lindsey Vonn retired because she had to. There was no anterior cruciate ligament left, and no meniscus. Her bones were grinding against each other with every turn. She described the pain as daily, relentless, and soul-crushing. She walked away not because she lost her speed, but because she lost her shock absorbers. But in April 2024, everything changed. A robot-assisted partial knee replacement gave her a mechanical solution to a biological failure, a titanium alloy resurfacing that did what years of rehab could not. It was a Mako robotic surgery, a system so precise it placed the implant within 0.5 millimeter of her natural anatomy. This was not just a medical procedure, it was a tactical upgrade. For the first time in a decade, Lindsey Vonn could walk without pain. And for a woman addicted to gravity, walking without pain was just a gateway drug to skiing without limits. The 2026 comeback is not a public relations stunt. It is a scientific experiment. Can a human body augmented by titanium withstand the 3.5 Gs of force generated in an Olympic downhill turn? Statistically, no woman has ever won at this level past the age of 34. Lindsey is 41. She is pushing the boundaries of sports science and geriatric athletics. She is using herself as a test case for a new era where retirement is just a temporary state of being. But the Crans, Montana crash reminded us of the one thing robots cannot fix: the margin for error. At 41, when you hit the snow, you do not bounce, you break. And as she was airlifted to the hospital this weekend, the reality of that gamble finally hit home. The Mont Le Chaux course in Switzerland is a monster. It is technical, it is fast, and on January 30th, it was shrouded in a fog of war. Low visibility, flat light. The kind of conditions where you cannot see the bumps, you can only feel them when it is too late. Lindsey was the 6th racer down. She was flying. She had the fastest split at the first interval. She was skiing like the 2010 version of herself, aggressive, reckless, and entirely focused on the line. Then came the compression, a jump that she landed off balance. Her left pole went up, her skis spun, and she slammed into the safety nets at a speed that would have totaled a car. Witnesses say she remained down for several minutes. The race was canceled immediately. The the silence in the finish area was deafening. This was not just another crash. This was the 1 week out nightmare. When she finally stood up, she was favoring her left knee, not the titanium right knee, the good one. This is the psychological trap of the comeback. You spend all your time protecting the injury, only to have the rest of the body buckle under the strain. As she was hoisted into the helicopter, dangling from a cable, the narrative seemed to write itself. The end. But that is not how Vonn works. Within hours, she was on Instagram. No hospital bed selfies. No poor me captions. Just a message to her teammates and a vow that her Olympic dream is not over. It was a tactical retreat, a calculated withdrawal, and it was the smartest move she has made all season. On January 31st, the official news broke. Lindsey Vonn is skipping the Super G. To the casual fan, this looks like a defeat. To a scriptwriter focused on viral strategy, this is surgical preservation. The Super G is the most dangerous discipline for a veteran. Unlike the downhill, you do not get training runs. You get one inspection and then you go. It requires more lateral torque, more snap in the turns, and more sudden directional changes. By withdrawing, Lindsey is not quitting. She is protecting the main event. She knows that the Olympic downhill is in Cortina d'Ampezzo, a place where she has won 12 times. She knows every bump, every shadow, every gate on that mountain. She does not need the Super G points. She needs the knee to be quiet for 90 seconds in Italy. This is the Madison Chalk maneuver. It is the realization that late career mastery is not about doing everything. It is about doing the right thing. She is sacrificing a World Cup podium to ensure she can stand in the starting gate on February 8th. She is killing her darlings. She is acknowledging that she has a limited amount of miracle left in her body, and she refuses to waste it in a Swiss fog when an Olympic gold is waiting in the Italian sun. Why is she doing this? She has 82 wins. She has 3 Olympic medals. She has a brand, a legacy, and enough money to never see snow again if she did not want to. The answer is not medals. The answer is autonomy. Lindsey Vonn did not retire in 2019 because she wanted to. She retired because she was broken beyond repair. She left the sport as a victim of her own success, forced out by a body that betrayed her mind. The 2026 comeback is about reclaiming the ending. It is about the fact that the titanium knee gave her a choice that she did not have 6 years ago. Like Elisa Liu, Lindsey is returning because she wants to decide how she belongs to the sport. She wants to be the architect of her final act, not a casualty of it. But there is a darker side to this. An addiction to the red line. Vonn admitted recently that she missed going fast more than she missed winning. She missed the feeling of being on the edge of catastrophe. For someone like Lindsey, the safe life of a retired legend felt like a slow death. In the medical tent at Crans, Montana, she was not just checking for ligament damage. She was checking to see if she still had the will to push the limits again. Her response, "Doing my best," proves that the addiction is still there. She is willing to risk the titanium, the reputation, and the good knee, just for one more 90-second hit of pure adrenaline. Success in 2026 is not a gold medal. For Lindsey Vonn, the win happened the moment she stood up in that net in Switzerland. Most 41-year-olds with a partial knee replacement would have seen that crash as a sign from the universe to go home. They would have seen the helicopter and the hospital as the natural conclusion to a risky comeback. But Lindsey Vonn is not most people. She is a reminder that the most powerful move in sports is not holding on to a perfect past. It is having the audacity to fail in the future. It is being willing to crash, to be airlifted, to be mocked by the critics who say you are too old, and still saying, "I am doing my best." She is not a relic. She is a pioneer. She is showing a new generation of athletes that the end of your career does not have to be a tragedy. It can be a choice. Whether she wins a medal in Italy or finishes last, the narrative is already set. She did not let injury define her exit. She used technology and pure stubborn will to force her way back into the conversation. As the road to Milano Cortina narrows, the margins will get thinner, the ice will get harder, the ghosts will get louder. But Lindsey Vonn is already there, waiting at the gate. Because when you stop chasing a version of yourself that no longer exists, you finally have the room to become something even better. A survivor, a strategist, a titanium legend. The Olympics are not happening to Lindsey Vonn. Lindsey Vonn is happening to them, and she is not finished yet. So, where does she stand now? The Chase for 100 Wins by Mikaela Shiffrin is the headline. But Lindsey Vonn is the final boss of the 2026 Games. She is the ghost that haunts the current field. Competitors like Sofia Goggia and Mikaela Shiffrin aren't just racing against Vonn. They are racing against the idea of Vonn. They know that if she makes it to that starting gate in Cortina, the mountain belongs to her. She has raced Cortina 50 times. She visualizes the course when she falls asleep. While the younger girls are relying on their fast twitch muscles, Vonn is relying on pathfinding. She knows where the speed is hidden in the terrain. But the crash in Crans-Montana has changed the math. She now has 7 days to heal a bruised knee and a rattled brain. She has to pass a medical evaluation before the first training run on Wednesday. The pressure is not just external anymore, it is internal. She has to convince her own body that it is safe to go 80 miles per hour again. She is entering the timing phase of her career. Every hour of rehab, every ice pack, every minute of sleep is now a tactical choice. She is not training for strength anymore. She is training for equilibrium. If she makes it to that gate on February 8th, it will be the most watched 90 seconds in the history of alpine skiing. Not because we expect her to win, but because we want to see if the impossible is actually possible.